Good morning, grade 8. I am so sorry that we are not able to meet in the physical space, but we have to work with the circumstances that we have. So I'm going to do this little video presentation for you with some guidance as to something that I would like you to do until we meet together in the physical space. I would just like you to remember, though, that when we do meet physically, please remember to take your crayons, your atlas, your pencil, rubber sharpener. We are going to be doing some practical work as it relates to the topic that we are doing. As it relates to that, our new topic is defining the Caribbean. I'm going to share with you a small video that I would like you to watch, after which I'm going to discuss with you some notes that we are going to look at, and I need you to write information as best as you possibly can. All right, guys? I miss you guys, even though you give me some trouble sometimes. But let's see how best we can get this class going. Okay. So I'd like you to watch. Let me share the screen with you, please. Share screen. Here we go. Right. So I'd like you to watch this short video presentation. It's about 4 minutes. As you watch the presentation, what I'd like you to do is to jot down the different definitions that you see mentioned here. When we met previously, we looked at 4, and that's what we'll be concentrating on. This video presentation will be identifying 5, but we are not interested in the 5th one. What we're interested in right now are the 4 that I initially introduced to you. Okay, so I'm going to roll the video now, and I want you to watch it. Have your pens and your books ready. Stop the video at any point so that you can jot down the different definitions and work it at your convenience. Okay, guys, here we go. Okay, guys, so I paused the video for you. I just paused the video for you. So right in front of you are 5 definitions. So what I want you to do is at this point, just take out your notebook and just write them down. Remember, your topic is defining the Caribbean. So head up your page, put in today's date, where you have the subject social studies. I want you to put in bracket online class. Did you get that? So your subject is social studies, and in bracket, I want you to write online class. Ensure you put in today's date. That is very important because we need it for record keeping. So put in today's date, write in your class, and your topic is defining the Caribbean. Defining the Caribbean. And when you have done that now, you're going to list these 4 definitions. 1, geographical definition, right? The word definition. So, okay, let's stop. Let's pause. So when you have done that, remember you can stop the video at any point and rewind it. Well, we don't use rewind anymore, but you can slip the slider back so that you can get a feel of exactly what I am saying. So having head up your page, what I want you to do for me is to write in the topic, defining the Caribbean. Are we together? When you have done that, write this for me. The Caribbean is a complicated space. Full stop. It is difficult to define, full stop. However, there are four general ways in which we can define it. Did you get that? So stop the video, go back, listen to what I've just said, those three sentences, and write them down. Then when you have done that, you list the first four. A, the geographical definition. B, the geological definition. C, the historical definition. And D, the political definition. When you have finished writing these four definitions off, then you can start back the video. Okay, continue the video. All right, guys. Okay, so let's roll. Pause. Did you get that? Your narrator says that the geographical definition, so what she's actually defining for you each definition. So the geographical definition refers to all those Caribbean countries which are washed by the Caribbean Sea. What does that mean? It simply means that all those countries where the Caribbean Sea touches. So basically, that's what it means. So that would take in the first definition of the geographical Caribbean. All right. Take a minute and write down that definition. Okay, very good. Very good. Let's move along. All right. So here we have the second definition for the Caribbean, the geological definition. So let's go back a little bit and listen again to what our narrator says. Are you ready? Here we go. All right, let me expand on that a little bit for you. So the definition says that the geological definition refers to all the Caribbean region that is above the geographical plate. The definition I want you to write for me is this. The geological definition, the geological Caribbean, refers to all those Caribbean countries that are impacted by the natural forces of nature. Did you get that? Let's go again. The geographical definition of the Caribbean refers to, you're not listening to me. Let's go again. The geological definition of the Caribbean refers to all those Caribbean countries, the Caribbean region, that are affected by the natural forces of nature or the natural forces of the earth. So we have volcanoes, we have earthquakes, we have hurricanes, we have droughts, we have flooding. All of these are natural occurrences that impact the Caribbean, and all of that would fall under the geological definition of the Caribbean. Okay, so let's move along. Write that one down for me, guys. The historical definition. It involves countries of the Caribbean that have the same historical experiences. So it's right there on your screen. I want you to write it off. Remember, if you miss something, you can slide the video backwards and replay it so that you can capture exactly what was being said. Okay, guys? All right, so having written that off, let's continue. Okay, so let's stop, let's stop this, let's stop this. So we start, yeah, just give me a minute, give me a minute. Behave yourself. Mm. All right, where am I? Right here. There we go. Okay, so there you have it, guys. So we have that short video presentation that gives us the definitions of the Caribbean. So having gone through that, I would like us now to see if we can put all of that information together. I'm going to share with you a map of the Caribbean and speak a little bit about what the map has to offer in relation to what we just watched. Basically, to explain some more what the thing is, and then there are some notes I'm going to require you to write. And by the time we are finished, that should take then sum up the entire class. Okay, so I'm going to share with you. Oh no, I did that wrong. I did that wrong. Let's go again. So I'm going to share a screen. Here's the map. There we go. So I want you to take a look at that map for me. That map gives us a summary, if we want to, well, it encapsulates what the Caribbean looks like. So I'm going to ask you now to follow my mouse. You see the cursor right there? Name of the name of territories and sub-region. All right. So all of this is the map of the Caribbean. Now, the first definition we looked at was the geographical definition. Remember, we said the geographical definition refers to all those countries that are washed by the Caribbean Sea. So here we have the Caribbean Sea. So let's look at all those areas that are washed by the Caribbean Sea. And you need to pay keen attention because when we meet in our physical space, you will be required to use your crayons and to shade in. You'll be given a blank map of the Caribbean and you'll be required to use your crayon to shade in the first instance, although the Caribbean Sea and all those territories that are washed only by the Caribbean Sea. So let's go. Here we have, so no, here's the Caribbean Sea. So the Caribbean Sea spans right at the mouth of the Gulf of Mexico, goes all the way down, washes along all of Central America. Watch my mouse carefully. Look at my mouse carefully. Goes along the northern section of South America. Watch your mouse. You see right here now? It goes up along the Lesser Antilles. It comes around through the washing the coast of Puerto Rico, the island of Hispaniola, which consists of two countries, as Haiti and the Dominican Republic, takes in all of Jamaica, all of the Cayman Islands, goes up along Haiti right here and washes the southern coast of Cuba. So all of that area is the Caribbean Sea. Now notice now, when we generally talk about the Caribbean, we generally focus on the islands of the Caribbean. All right? We generally talk about all of this as part of the Caribbean. But if we are to use the first definition that we are looking at, the geographical definition of the Caribbean, we're going to realize that the Bahamas is not washed by the Caribbean Sea. Did you see that? The video you just watched pointed that out. So the Bahamas is actually washed by the Atlantic Ocean, not by the Caribbean Sea. The Turks and Caicos Islands is washed by the Atlantic Ocean, not by the Caribbean Sea. We normally say Trinidad is a part of the Caribbean. Watch my mouse, it's a part of the Caribbean. But Trinidad is not washed by the Caribbean Sea. It's actually washed by the Atlantic Ocean. All of it is part of the Atlantic Ocean. And if you know your Caribbean geography well, you realize that, or your Caribbean history well, you realize that we would also include Guyana and Suriname as part of the Caribbean. But Guyana and Suriname are located on the South American continent, and they are both washed by the Atlantic Ocean. So based on the geographical definition, Guyana, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago. Oh, I left out Barbados. Barbados right here. Right here. So Barbados right here. So Barbados also would not be considered as part of the Caribbean because Barbados is way out there in the Atlantic Ocean. So by this definition, the geographical definition, Guyana, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, Turks and Caicos Island, and the Bahamas would not be a part of the Caribbean. Did you get that? So list those countries down. Jot those countries down. The countries that are not a part of the Caribbean are you writing? Take out your books and ensure that you write this down. The countries that are not a part of the Caribbean, based on the geographical definition, are the Bahamas, the Turks and Caicos Islands, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, and Suriname. You can pause the video at any time to ensure that you get the spelling of these countries correctly. Wonderful. There are some countries that we do not normally associate to be a part of the Caribbean, but based on the definition of the first definition, they would be included. The geographical definition would include countries like Venezuela, which we don't normally be associated to be a part of the Caribbean, Colombia. These two countries are located on the continent of South America, but their northern, but their northern coasts are, are washed by the Caribbean Sea. I'm sorry, guys. There we have the Panama. There we have Panama, Costa Rica, Honduras. Belize is generally associated as part of the Caribbean, but it's a mainland country located in Central America. And look at this, Mexico. This part of Mexico is actually the part of Mexico that is called the Yucatan Peninsula. That is also washed by the Caribbean Sea. So all of Central America, excluding El Salvador, your video made reference to El Salvador. El Salvador is not washed by the Caribbean Sea. It is washed by the Pacific Ocean. So we will not include El Salvador. So what would include is Mexico, Belize, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, and Venezuela as part of those countries which would be regarded as Caribbean because they are washed by the Caribbean Sea. So what are the territories, what are the areas that we would include that are part of the Caribbean as defined by the geographical definition? Those territories would be Cuba, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Hispaniola, which encompasses Haiti and the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, all the islands of the Lesser Antilles, the ABC Islands, and the ABC Islands include Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire. No, ABC, so that would be wrong. It's Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. So look at my mouse, look at my mouse. So this little island here would be Aruba, the middle one would be Bonaire, and the third one would be Curacao. So they call them the ABC's island. So all of those would be regarded as part of the Caribbean. Then we would have Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize, and Mexico, because all this area is washed by the Caribbean Sea. So based on the first definition, all the areas that I just listed would be a part of the Caribbean. It's important for you to remember that because when we meet in the physical space, you'll be required to shade these areas because we are going to focus on the geographical definition only when we meet at the next class. Are we together, boys and girls? Wonderful. So I want you to write those areas down in your book. The areas that would be considered to be a part of the Caribbean based on the geographical definition are Cuba, Jamaica, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US Virgin Islands, the British Virgin Islands, and all the islands of the Lesser Antilles, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize, and Mexico. And as I've stated before, you can pause the video to ensure that you are able to write the names off properly. Okay, guys? All right, let's stop sharing. So there you have it, the definition of the geographical definition of the Caribbean. All right. There's one other thing I'd like to share with you, which I need you to write off in your books. And then that would bring our lesson here for this morning at a close. So I'm going to share screen again, and I'm going to my notes. So I want you to look at my notes. So let me scroll down. Right. So right there, I want you to look at the notes, that short paragraph right there, those two paragraphs right there, and I'd like you to read. So write that off. The Caribbean is a very unique place, and you can write that. But look at what I have there now for the geographical definition of the Caribbean. Okay? This has to do with locating the Caribbean region in relation to other parts of the world, such as, remember the previous lesson we did was lines of latitude and longitude. So we have to tie lines of latitude and longitude, which include the climatic zone, with our lesson. So we look at what climatic zone is the Caribbean region in. 2, where is it located in relation to other parts of the world? And 3, the islands of the Caribbean that are washed by the Caribbean Sea. So we looked at 3 first. We just looked at 3. So let's briefly, so you're going to write this, look at my mouse, you're going to write this section here. Just this section, just this, sorry. Let's go. Just this section here. I want you to write just this section here. All right? So that's what I want you to write off. And when you have written that off, then we are okay for the day. But I just want to bring your attention here. Remember, we looked at the climatic zones, and we said there were 3 zones, right? So we have our equator right here. you'd have noticed that in the diagram, I've divided the world based on the compass, north, south, west, and east. And we identified our zones. So we have the polar zone or the frigid zone, temperate zone, which is all of this expanse here. Then we have the tropical zone. This is, so right here, remember now, this is your equator. And the equator divides the tropical zone in two. So we have the northern tropical zone, southern tropical zone. Then we have the southern temperate zone and the southern polar zone. In the northern, look carefully. Let me see if I can bring this up a little more forward. Right. So I'm expanding this a little for you so that you can see it right there. So in the northern tropical zone, right here, we have the Caribbean region being located. So one way of locating the Caribbean is by its climatic zone. And the Caribbean region is located in the northern tropical zone. Make a note of that in your book. It's located in the northern tropical zone. The Caribbean can also be identified by its position with other places. So when we look at the Caribbean right here, we realize that it is south. So this is North America. That's why it's called North. It's in the northern hemisphere. So it is south of North America, and it is north of South America. See, South America is in the southern hemisphere. Here is Central America. So the Caribbean region here, Caribbean Sea and the islands, they are east. So Central America is to the west. So they are east. The Caribbean is east of Central America. And here's the big continent of Africa. The Caribbean is west of Africa. So remember that. The Caribbean is south of North America, north of South America, east of Central America, and west of Africa. So once you write that information in your notes, then we can call it quits for the day. I trust that you got information out. It was nice having you in the virtual space. I look forward to seeing you in the physical space. If you have to rewind it, we don't use rewind. I'm sorry, boys and girls. I'm very sorry, guys. Rewind is for old people like Mr. Good, right? You're in the digital age. You can push the slider backwards, the video slider backwards if there's something that you did not catch, right? And write those parts of the notes that we spoke about. Remember, when you come to school, when I meet in the next class, while you're doing the activity, the current activity, I'll be asking for your book. I'll be going around and I'll be checking your books just to ensure that information that you should have written, as I have indicated in this video presentation, you have it. Remember also that I'm collecting all books, social studies books, the next week and a half, and I'm going to be grading them. So if you don't have my notes in the books, you're going to be losing marks, and you don't want that to happen. Okay, boys and girls, thank you for your attention, for your time, and looking forward to seeing you. And have yourself a wonderful day.